Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to Dr. Nur Khairuliza and to all my dear classmates. Today, we are from Group 3 who would like to present the theory of Edward Thorndike. Before proceed to our presentation, allow us to do some introduction. I am Siti Nur Afika binti Muhammad Samsul, or you may call me Ika. I will present for some background on Edward Thorndike along with his theories, besides of presenting basic assumptions of his theory. Then, I will welcome my second members of our group to continue the presentation.
Assalamualaikum and hi guys! Good afternoon to Dr. Izzah and dear friends. I am Aisha Kira. Okay, as for today's presentation, I am responsible to explain to all of you on the principle of theory, which we decide specifically to focus on these three laws of Thorndike. Okay, actually this theory will spell out the basic law of learning. I'm sure it will be helpful to us in future too. So, what are they? Haha, let's check it out later with me. Next, let me welcome our last and the only male member of the group.
Thanks to the Aisha Kira Waka Waka AA. And Assalamualaikum and hi guys. To all who enjoy our video, I'm Muhammad Izzuddin Rahman. Yeah, the only gentleman in this group. Here I will be presenting for educational application or implication of Thorndike theory. And last but not least, I will be summarizing Thorndike theory in terms of its strength and weakness. But before that, don't forget to subscribe and share this video if it benefit to you guys. Without further ado, let's get started.
Edward Thorndike, or his full name was Edward Lee Thorndike, was born in United States 1874 and died at the age of 75 years old on 1949. Furthermore, he received his PhD from Columbia University on 1898 with his friend William James and James McKean, which they studied together on animal behavior. He was often referred as the founder of modern educational psychology, as first American psychologist that study of animal learning, which put forward the trial and error effects, neural connections between the stimuli and most satisfying responses. Moreover, Thorndike's famous puzzle box experiments with cats, which led to the development of his law of effect, which suggested that responses that produce a satisfying effect in a particular situation become more likely to occur again in that situation, and it's vice versa, according to Gray 2011. In addition, Thorndike's theory consists of three primary laws. Firstly is the law of effect, which is the responses to a situation that are followed by a rewarding state of affairs will be strengthened and become habitual responses to that situation. Secondly is the law of readiness, which is a series of responses can be chained together to satisfy some goal that will result in annoyance if blocked. Thirdly is the law of exercise, which Thorndike states that connections become strengthened with practice and weakened when practice is discontinued.
Hi, I'm here. I'm back. Now, it will be the principle of theory turn. Please bear with me as there will be lots of theory here, huh? Edward Thorndike was the first psychologist to formally study the consequences of behavior back in the late 1800s. Thorndike's research started due to his interest in intelligence and different types of intelligence, such as whether we are capable of doing multiple tasks simultaneously, He started his research with a series of famous experiments in which he tested how quickly animals, such as cats, could adapt their behavior in order to achieve positive consequences and avoid negative consequences. Now, let's move to Thorndike connectionism theory. What is connectionism theory? Connectionism is a learning theory which is based on the concept of bonds formed between stimulus S and response R. These SR bonds are formed which are considered as physical conditions. The paradigm for this SR theory called trial and error learning by Thorndike. Can you see that puzzle box illustration? Yeah, that cute one. Thorndike created these puzzle boxes. Cats would be put inside the puzzle boxes and they would have to figure out a series of behaviors to escape the box, such as pushing their paw on a lever, biting a string with their teeth, or swishing their tail to open a door. In addition to simply escaping the box due to these behaviors, the cats were further rewarded with a dish of food. The cats were put inside the same puzzle box several times, and each of the time, Thorndike measured how quickly they did a series of behaviors needed to escape from the box. It is not that difficult to understand, right, guys? But back in the late of 1800, this was a great invention, okay? Okay, from this research, Thorndike learned that even though the cats probably did a particular behavior accidentally the first time, if that accidental behavior got rewarded, they were more likely to do it the next time they were put in that box. Thorndike said that the behavior had been reinforced or made stronger due to the reward of escaping the box and getting food. Teachers always pack their courses with tons of relevant content and awesome visuals. But if the student itself don't make a dent in their own learner's mind, teachers have failed in their purpose. Now, let's get to know on those 3 basic laws of learning. Before that, learning is change in behavior that can be observed, measured, and assessed concretely. The change of stimulus will generate response based on mechanistic law. First, the law of readiness, or also known as law of preparation. It is a law which states that learning is dependent upon the learner's readiness to act, which facilitates the strengthening of the bond between stimulus and response, according to Goodenough, 1950. For example, an athlete who is highly motivated and eager to learn is more likely to be receptive to learning than one who is poorly motivated. Or in a simple word, guys, learning is based on our niat in the beginning of the class. If we willingly to learn, which is ikhlas to learn, we will get what we wish at the end of the class, right? Of course, by paying attention. Secondly, is the law of exercise. It is stated that behavior is more strongly established through frequent connections of stimulus and response. Drill or practice helps in increasing efficiency and durability of learning. There are 2 aspects of this law, which is law of use and also law of disuse. Law of use show that the connection and action will be strong if there is exercise, while law of disuse stated that condition and action is weak when the exercise is stopped. For instance, students tend to remember recurring data and they tend to forget non-recurring data. This example was given by Credit 2012. And the third and the last one is the law of effect. It explained that responses closely followed by satisfaction will become firmly attached to the situation and therefore more likely to reoccur when the situation is repeated. Conversely, if the situation is followed by discomfort, the connections to the situation will become weaker and the behavior response is less likely to occur when the situation is repeated, according to Thorndike 1898. This is the book from Thorndike itself, guys. If satisfyingness attached to frequent connection and annoyingness attached to rare connection, it will be likely being repeated and connections will be strong. This is also according to Thorndike in 1927.
We go through the first point of the implication of this story. The first implication is to study the behavior. The stimulus should be established. Teacher needs to provide a variety of interesting and impressive teaching and learning resources so that effective learning process can take place. For example, using ICT, which is information technology, as well as audio or video, so that students can go through the learning process effectively. The second implication is that the concept of readiness law can be developed for use in a classroom. A student needs to be mentally prepared, interested, and behave like a psychomotor before effective learning can occur. But if students have forced to learn, learning will not be effective. And the third implication is practice and repetition will improve the effectiveness of learning. It also can improve student skills and memory. For example, by giving drills, quiz, or frequently asked questions to the student. So we can conclude, teachers can give motivation to students to enhance their learning readiness. Second, the effect of Thorndike theory in education is that the theory can strengthen the relationship between stimuli and student response. Third, in addition, through the training, review activities, as well as the strengthening of the application is one of the effects of the theory of Thorndike. And then this theory also provides rewards or affirmation response from the student. And lastly, Thorndike theory also can provide an opportunity for students to achieve success in their learning. So, what about my presentation, guys? Quite boring, right? Chill, I have another part to explain. Strength and weakness of this theory. First, the teacher will teach the student in the classroom so that it is easy for the teacher to give instruction to the student at one time. But there is a disadvantage by using this method. That is, when a student is not ready to learn, but it had to learn, then it will also produce feelings of frustration or pain. If this happens, it is difficult to student to catch what the teacher is trying to convey. Second, the more training is carried out, the stronger the bond or specific response association with the associate stimulus. In other words, if learning activities are done often, then the more benefits students will get it. But you must remember the response will be improved if the individual has a good effect. For example, when a student is not ready to learn and is had to learn, it will result in feeling of frustration or pain. Also, if not a lot of training and reinforcement is given to the student, then the response produced will disappear. Little or no input from learner. And the third, if the punishment or reward given is commensurate which often commit by individual, then it's very worthwhile to do. Appropriate rewards for students will also encourage them to be more prepared to go through the learning process. That's all guys. Thank you and have fun.